The Mets' weekend series against the Marlins ended with a loss, but the Metropolitans took 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Fish at Citi Field. 5-5 record on the season, but there might be some concerns about the team's offense. So it's time to talk some Mets baseball with the co-host of the Amazing but True podcast. That would be Jake Brown, a.k.a. the Podfather. Jake, how are you enjoying your Mets fandom early on this season?
You know, they won a series. That's what matters. It was cold at the ballpark over the weekend. It'll be cold against the Padres this week, so it'll be a rematch of the wild card round. So looking forward to that. But, yeah, chilly nights at the ballpark. Bring some gloves, bring a hat, and be prepared. But fun to be back in Citi Field after, you know, all the renovations, all the new clubs they added, new food, big scoreboard. A lot of changes were made, so it was good to check everything out.
Yeah, it's still too cold for me to get out there for the baseball games. But, Jake, you know, you and I will be at some games when the weather warms up together soon. We will get that done. But let's start off talking about Francisco Alvarez, who made his second career start on Sunday with Omar Narvaez injured and Alvarez up with the big club. Should Alvarez be in the lineup every day now?
I think he's got to be. I know Buck said Nito's going to get the bulk of the catching duties, but we know what Tomas Nito is, and I like Tomas Nito. Good defensive player, will get you a hit here and there, but he's a singles hitter who's a solid defensive catcher. He's not a world beater, and Francisco Alvarez could be the punch that this lineup needs, and we just don't know yet if he has that. Listen, this guy was 2 for 14 over 5 games with a home run entering Sunday. Sunday, he gets the RBI hit. You could just see from his swing, he is a big league hitter, and he also came close to throwing some guys out. He had a couple of cannons that he threw to second base. So he's pretty good defensively. He's got some pop. The Mets really need that right now, and he needs the consistency. This guy's trying to do too much. When he plays once, twice a week, he's trying to do so much in that 1 or 2 games, try to be a hero, that there's no consistency there. He needs to play 4 to 5 times a week. Nito once to twice. It's got to be the other way around. You have to see what you have in this kid, at least until Narvaez gets back, who was hitting well before he got hurt. But Alvarez deserves the chance for some consistency. He came up at a weird time in a playoff push last year, and he caught 13 innings. I mean, this is 22 innings he's caught of big league ball. Let's see what he's got. Let him play a couple days a row and get him his chance.
All right, you heard it from Jake. The time is now to see what the Mets have in Francisco Alvarez. And you mentioned what he probably could provide to the lineup. The bottom of the lineup has struggled for the Mets early on this season. On a scale of 1 to 10, Jake, what is your level of concern about the lack of production from the 6 to 9 hitters? And how do the Mets address this issue? Is it as simple as bringing up Alvarez, let him stay, and getting the lineup?
1 to 10, I'll say it's a 6. It's frustrating when you got Michael Conforto, like, in the club. They tweet out him running into the clubhouse, him doing well, JD Davis doing well. The San Francisco Mets are all hitting all potential DH options and guys that could play that are on another team. And you're like, oh my God, why didn't we just keep them? We traded these prospects away, and now the bottom of our lineup isn't hitting. I'm not too worried yet. Listen, I was there over the weekend. It was chilly and it's hard. You saw a lot of walks. You saw longer than the new average game time because there were pitching changes, command problems. And Eduardo Escobar, listen, he hit a homer Saturday. He drove in a run Friday. He had a double on Sunday. His bat's starting to come alive now. And I think, you know, there were fans cheering for Beatty in the home opener and booing Escobar. Escobar deserves a shot. And over the weekend, you saw his bat come alive. So I'm not terribly worried just yet. These cold conditions affect pitchers. It affects hitters. And I don't want to blame losses and poor hitting on the cold, but it is early in the season. Let's be patient here. It's not like the Mets are 0-10, 0-11. They've won games. They're right around 500. So there's no time to panic yet. But I'd love to see Alvarez as a part of this. And maybe we do see Beatty in a few weeks, but don't be too worried yet.
All right, pump the brakes. Do not get so worried this fast. This past week, it was topsy-turvy for the Amazins, though, as they were swept by the Brewers. Then he took 2 out of 3, as we mentioned, from the Marlins. The team that eliminated the Mets from the postseason last year, the Padres, they come to town on Monday. Then the Mets head out west for 9 games. Do you view the next 12 games as a big early season test for the Mets?
I think it's too early to call it an early season test, really, at this point when the Mets don't have Verlander, they don't have Narvaez, they're missing guys. Now, Starling Marte might miss this Padres series. He's day-to-day, which is a huge loss. I mean, you saw this Mets lineup without him last year, and, you know, he came back for the playoffs, but they needed him in September to try to win that division, and they badly missed him. So hopefully he comes back soon. I think this Padres series is important, though. The West Coast trip, not as much, but this Padres series is important because this is a playoff preview once again. The Padres are a championship contender. So are the Mets, and the Mets need to make a statement here early in the year and win this series 2 out of 3 and show them, hey, we remember what happened. Remember, there was some bad blood there with the whole Musgrove and the ear situation and whatever he was using. Like, there was some bad blood, and you know, they made it known, the Mets made it known, and I think the Mets should try and win this series. The West Coast trip, not too worried yet. Listen, the Dodgers are not the same team. The A's stink, and the Giants are okay. And that's another one. Maybe you make a statement to try and beat Michael Conforto and J.D. Davis. But I don't think these games are that important yet. Just try and take series. But again, be cool to beat the Padres, to shove it back in their face, you know, at least as an early statement. And then we'll see him again probably in October.
All right, Jake has his eyes on this Padres series as the Mets having the opportunity to make an early statement, but he's keeping things in perspective. He's not jumping out of the window just yet. That is Jake Brown, the co-host of the Amazing But True podcast, also known to many people as the Podfather. Jake, appreciate your time. We will talk Mets again very soon.
Happy Easter, happy Passover, and we'll see you at Citi Field this week.